the chickens. For a while now, my mom has decided that she wanted to get some chickens. We bought some eggs, they came over, and then pretty soon we had a bunch of peepers going.
Here we go.
But these peepers didn't always used to be that way. These peepers were some of the cutest things I had ever seen. With their fuzzy little bodies, their small little wings, their big pokey long necks, they were really adorable. And one thing we learned was that chickens could fly. And that was a very surprising thing to be finding. And pretty soon they turned into this. Instead of looking something like this, all fuzzy and cute, they turned into that. But despite looking like Jabba the Hutt, you'll know that they are quite a pretty animal and not an eyesore in the backyard. But I have found that these chickens do have a dark side, so that they can be happy or they can be something sort of like this. But she's actually a pretty nice hen. But now it's time for me to walk around the backyard and show you the chickens from recordings I have. There's one of our deceased roosters right there, and there's our current rooster right there. We call him Kevin. And there's our other deceased rooster. There's two deceased roosters right there. Basically, a whole lot of deceased roosters. Most common form of death, decapitation. I will spare you of those videos because, quite frankly, I don't even like looking at them. I thought you'd just appreciate not looking at the gore and stuff that pops out. And yes, the chickens do dance around. They flop everywhere, and we try to make it so we don't have to go chase them in the woods. But we shall move away from that subject and go straight to some of our deceased roosters. Right here we have a deceased rooster I don't remember too much about, but I do remember he was very cranky all the time, and he kept biting my fingers. And then we had one of my favorite roosters known as Proudfeather. Really imposing looking rooster, very fun to look at him, very sad. Up next, we're going to take a little journey to the chicken coop, as one of the chickens is already getting ahead of me. So we'll take a look at the chicken coop now. The chicken coop used to be a fort that we modified so it has a grill on the backside. Sorry, I can't show you that right now. And a very nasty looking interior on the inside. I'm sorry if you can't get too good of an angle. I couldn't see anything when I taped it. But as you can see, it only has two roosting bars and one little box in the middle for them to lay their eggs. Here's a still pic for a better look of the outside of it. In the daytime, though, they preferred to hang out in that. Of course, they had to get their water, and it's normally this little bucket I like to carry around. All the chickens normally come chasing me in all different directions whenever I pick up the water. They know when the water's flowing, and the only complaint I have about the water is that my dog likes to go out there and drink it, making me have to go refill it more often. Speaking of the dog, you probably think we suffered a lot of chicken casualties to her, and you're right, we suffered about 3 chicken deaths. But through some severe training, we taught her not to kill the chickens, and now she walks in the backyard with them in unison, bothering them little and being non-nuisancy. But now that that side note is aside, I feel the need to tell you that the chickens have encountered a new white substance that falls on the ground when it gets cold, and they did not know what to do about it. At first they tried to peck it, and then they tried to drink it. But in the end they decided it was cold, and they ended up huddling in front of our window just to make us feel sorry for them. But now it is the sad time of wrapping things up. The chickens were very fun animals to take care of, and I took care of them ever since they were little fuzzballs. I had my fun times with them, but unfortunately, I also had my sad times with them. But despite the fun and the sad, it was all a learning experience, and well worth it.